All right, I think we're going to get started again. So our next talk is A Tale of a Whale by Aren Gunderson from the University of Alaska Museum.
Yes, hello. I am Aren. I am the Mammal Collection Manager from the University of Alaska Museum in Fairbanks, Alaska. And this is a rotten carcass of an adult male humpback whale. This whale washed up dead near Anchorage, Alaska. Fairbanks is 360 miles north of Anchorage. So it was not nearby, but it was in an area, you can see this is a coastal marine refuge, and then there's a steep bluff behind it. But it was in an area where there was road access just to the right of this whale, about 100 yards on the flat and then 100 yards up this steep bluff. So, and at the time, this was 2016, it washed up in June 2016. In September, between June and September, I'd made the commitment to go salvage the carcass. And we let it rot for 3 months to make it easier. So, and at the time we had funding, a marine mammal archival grant from the North Pacific Research Board, and they were kind enough and eager to divert funds from working in the basement to working on the beach on this whale. So briefly, it took 4 museum staff members, myself, Kendall Hildebrandt, who's here, you can ask her about it as well, and 2 others from the museum in Fairbanks, and then about 8 to 10 volunteers to haul everything that we could up to our trucks, or our truck. We had a truck, 2 truckloads, it was 2 round trips, and a flatbed trailer. So on the first trip in September, we took everything that was salvageable out of the rotting mass of tissue, and then we waited another month for more decomposition to make the tail vertebrae and the flippers a little more accessible. So a month later, we had another fleet of volunteers and sharper knives and stronger backs. And we did in total 40 round trips on foot to and from the carcass to the truck. And then on the second trip down in October, we had a helicopter. So the helicopter worked for about 20 minutes. We had the cranium slinged up, wrapped up, ready to sling load. The 2 dentaries were another load, and then a cargo net full of the 2 flippers, which were still hard tissue, and the tail fluke. We cut as much as we could off, but the remaining vertebrae in the tail were still a huge chunk of tissue. So the helicopter brought those up the hill for us. So that's briefly what we did. It cost $2,400, which is not bad. I thought that was a pretty good deal. And the reason I'm highlighting this, not just because it was a monumental effort, it actually wasn't that difficult. I'd never done a whale this big before. We have salvaged belugas and other marine mammals, but mostly I skin squirrels in the basement. But if you can skin a squirrel, you can skin a humpback whale. It's really the same animal. You just need bigger knives, and we had big knives. So. The point is, you should go do something bigger than you think you can do. And in doing this was a tourist attraction. Tens of thousands of Anchorage residents were visiting the carcass because you could walk to it. The refuge folks wanted it gone because they were trampling all the vegetation. So we did a bunch of people favors, and now they like us. They know who we are when they didn't before. We got all the permitting officials on board. They wanted us to salvage it because what we do is a good thing. So, and the news was there, and I did a dozen interviews, and I was on TV and in the paper. There's a YouTube video, and it inspired, it made the case itself. I didn't have to do much except go get it, and it inspired a donation that we are now working with to have not this skeleton, but of a bowhead whale assembled and hung from the ceiling in the lobby of our museum. So that's a hundreds of thousands of dollar project that resulted because I was on TV, knee deep in maggots. And it's a good visual. It gets the attention that we need. So go do something big. If you can skin a squirrel, you can skin a whale. Go do it. Thank you.